and to see some of the most innovative tools and technologies that we're seeing today in platforms in digital health and digital therapeutics. And we have our own Jerry Antamano, who is managing these communities and doing a phenomenal job managing the summit. Jerry, good to see you, and handing the virtual podium over to you to begin the next hour of the summit this week on the Digital Health Innovators Showcase. Jerry.
No, thank you, Stan, for that wonderful introduction and close off to the DEI section or track that we have for the summit today. We're actually going to be moving on to not only the Innovator Showcase part of the summit, but also the Women's Health Tech track of the summit as well, with a break for lunch in between Innovator Showcase and our usual Women's Health Tech Wednesday segment. So without further ado, I'd like to go ahead and share my screen, because we should be on the Innovator Showcase slide now. And with that, you're about to see some of the more disruptive and up-and-coming emerging tech that HITLAB has both been working with and has been helping to research with as well. And some of whom you may have you've seen on some of the symposia this year. How this is going to work is that normally we'll have 4 innovators showcase their digital health solutions in presentation mode for 3 panelists to ask questions about and to delve deeper into. Please feel free to put your questions also in the chat and in the Q&A box, and we will try and get to them if there is time within these 12 to 14-minute presentations that you're about to see. So without further ado, I'd love to introduce the panelists who are going to be posing some of the questions today. Nathan Sunheimer from Plug and Play, Latar Sethi from How Women Invest, and Julie Kim from Fem Health Ventures. If you guys would like to take a minute to introduce yourselves, going from left to right. Nathan, if you want to take a quick 30, 60 seconds and let everybody know who you are and what you do.
Sounds great. Thanks, Jerry, and thanks for having me today. Hello, everyone. My name is Nathan Sunheimer. I head U.S. healthcare partnerships at Plug and Play. And what we do in a nutshell is connect the world's best startups with national and global corporations to bring new tech and solutions to market faster. So we provide corporate innovation services, we run accelerators, and lastly, we're investors, and we do that in 20 different industries. But I'm part of the healthcare team and happy to be here with the HITLAB crew today. Thanks.
No, wonderful to have you as always, Nathan. And moving on to Latar, who I had the pleasure of meeting in person yesterday in New York at the Innovator Summit at Columbia University. Latar, would you like to let everyone know who you are and what you do?
Thank you so much, Jerry. Wonderful meeting you as well. Latar Sethi. I am a former scientist, trial attorney in patent litigation, primarily in pharma and medical devices. And after the practice of law, I helped launch 2 digital transformation venture-funded startups. Both of them got acquired, and after the last one got acquired about 2 years ago, myself and 2 other women came together to launch How Women Invest. It is a venture fund focused on U.S. founders that are female, tech-driven, and most importantly, we are looking at changing the 2% of venture capital dollars that go to female founders. And there's a whole story behind it, but I came on board as the first founding LP, and we have invested in several female-founded health tech companies. Thank you.
Wonderful, Latar. Thank you so much for being on. And last, but certainly not least, Julie Kim from Fem Health Ventures. Wonderful to have you on again as a panelist for the Women's Health Tech Innovator Showcase. We'd love to know about yourself for a quick 60 seconds.
Great. Thanks, Jerry. Hi, everyone. My name is Julie Kim. I am an investor at Fem Health Ventures, a women's health focused VC firm based in the New York City area. We define women's health much more broadly than other people. So we consider 3 categories: conditions affecting only women, mostly women, and differently in women. So this would include anything that a OBGYN treats, to things like autoimmune diseases that appear much more frequently in women, to things like heart attacks and diabetes that could present very differently in women versus men. In terms of investments, we tend to focus on Series A deals, but we're flexible on that. And we invest across different modalities, including drugs, devices, diagnostics, and digital applications. Excited to be here and hear more about all these companies.
Wonderful to have all three of you on today, and the panelists. Thank you very much for making the time to carve out to be on today and panel this amazing showcase that we're about to see. And to that note, I'd like to introduce you to all the 4 different innovators who are going to be taking some time now to show you what they're up to and where they're going. So we're going to be hearing from Birthview, Vital Start, Health, Curio, and Microgenesis. So strap in and enjoy the presentations. We're going to start off with Roshane from Birthview. Roshane, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Perfect. I've given you co-host permissions to share your screen, so please feel free to share your screen when you're ready, and your 12 to 15 minutes starts when you are ready.
Sounds good. Can you guys see my pitch?
Yeah, we see it.
Okay, nice. So hi, everyone. My name is Roshane. I am the founder and CEO of Birthview, a digital health software development company focused on helping improve labor and delivery outcomes for patients and clinicians. So this was a clinician-inspired project that began during my years at Penn State, and I worked with an OBGYN in order to create an application that would show how patients were progressing throughout the labor and delivery process and their performance. And with this information, I became quite curious as to how things were related from the clinician's perspective, as well as the patient perspective. And with that, I started this company. And after further research, I became aware of some of the jarring concerns that came with maternal mortality, especially the mortality rate that patients face in the US. And after analyzing this information further, I realized the drastic disproportions that African Americans also face during maternal mortality, as in being 2 to 3 times more likely to die during this process. And what's worse is that 2 out of 3 of these pregnancy-related deaths were deemed preventable, which is quite jarring in my head. And with 1.7 million women being affected by maternal morbidity every year, this is a critical need in order to help improve maternal health. With 40% of these deaths occurring within the first 6 days of delivery, these statistics were made much more prevalent to the timing based on pregnancy-related deaths. Additionally, research shows that there's an adverse relationship between how long a labor lasts and the increase of complications that occur. Complications such as postpartum trauma, obstetric trauma, C-sections, and infections. And with the drastically high US C-section rate, this is affecting much more patients than we need, with prolonged labor bringing a majority of negative emotional experiences, as well as the impact and outcome of the actual labor experience. So we see that there's an opportunity presented to help empower patients and clinicians with information that they could take on, they could grasp onto in order to improve their own labor and delivery process. With this information, we see that knowledge is quite powerful in this moment, with first-time moms going through the labor and delivery process at a much more longer time than moms who've had prior experience. And we see that this is because of experience. They understand how to work with their contractions throughout the labor and delivery process. They don't push themselves too much. And a lot of stressful and emotional concerns that would arise out of first-time moms, they don't exhibit that same behavior in moms with prior experience. So we are working to facilitate this information so that regardless if they're a first-time mom or if they've had prior experience, they could still go through this relatively faster labor and delivery process. Additionally, a lot of patients want to go through this process having a vaginal birth. They fear C-section, they fear complications, and also they fear taking medication because at times this could improve and drag out their entire labor process and thus for raising the risk of complications that come with this. So we provided a hub of solutions that are AI-friendly and AI-driven and user-friendly for patients and clinicians. And these solutions work together in order to perform and provide the information that they need, such as non-pharmacological options for pain, increasing comfort, not for only the patients, but also the partners that they surround themselves with, acting as a surveillance tool to provide insightful information that they could take into their hand in order to get by and go through their labor process. These hub of solutions become a pain management and monitoring solution, optimizing labor and delivery. Treatment recommendations could be provided to clinicians based on how the application is showing that patients are handling the labor process, the pain of contractions. And additionally, this is throughout all the stages of labor, not while they're just at home or the first stage or the pushing. It goes through all of it, helping maximize safety with personalized care. But how does this work? Our solution pairs with maternal fetal monitors. These machines translate uterine pressure strength data, which hospitals and clinicians use to look at how a patient is progressing and measuring contractions. Our AI is able to automatically detect when these contractions arrive, as well as provide time predictions for when future iterations of contractions will occur, helping assess pain severity so clinicians can have a better means of guiding patients and providing treatment recommendations. Our patient-facing application out of our hub comes with a color-coordinated labor zones, which shows an easier flow of information and for patients, as well as customizable features for pain management, helping to reduce anxiety in a non-pharmacological way. Pain are things and factors that help reduce the prolonging of labor. In addition, the clinician-facing application helps to create an optimized workflow. In addition, with showing the information that patients have, it goes into further information such as the frequency, intensity, and the labor performance that the patients are going through. With future iterations, we plan to integrate EHR machines so we could get a more personalized understanding of how clinicians can help patients throughout this period. And that's the value that this application brings with the hub of solutions: real-time, accurate, autonomous, personalized, and insightful labor details. A lot of these factors come together to not only improve the labor and delivery management, but provide a personalized patient-centered maternity care, which is often lacking in this department. And with an increase in safety for desirable outcomes coming from a shorter birthing experience, we're reducing costs such as longer hospital stays, C-sections, which are 2 times more costly than an actual vaginal birth, and a lot of additional complication costs that get reduced simply because a healthy vaginal birth is what is occurring. We're aiming at advancing health equity. We're reducing racial biases, as mentioned beforehand, that comes with neglect and overlooking certain patients simply because they look like they're handling pain better or they're in a better circumstance. This will help properly translate into population and health benefits. Our service obtainable market is made up of patients who are looking to have a vaginal birth, as well as hospitals that have the capable technology to utilize our software. While measuring and factoring out those companies, we also look for hospitals that are producing roughly medium to high birthing volume, which gives us a sum of roughly 1.1 billion. Our business-to-business customers are hospitals and health networks as well. Of the 2,700 hospitals, we focus predominantly on roughly 1,400 birthing hospitals and health networks, which make up roughly 85% of the annual births that occur in the United States. From there, we have a tiered annual subscription pricing based on the volume of based on the volume birth that each hospital has, from medium, high to very high births. As before mentioned, our revenue model serves as a software as a service, where different monthly options are available for hospitals and health networks based on the length of time that they wish to utilize our application. Going from 2023 to 2025, we plan to go from 2, 10 to 25 hospital partnerships within that year span, simply also because health networks often have a large variety of birthing centers within their portal. And we expect to have this launched by spring of 2023 with a roughly raising amount of $2 million. And this is coming from what we plan to do: research and development, AI improvement, providing a minimum viable product, as well as contacting and being a part of that, the 2 hospital beta sites we have. The proof of concept and case of studies that we have and will put together will be initially pointed towards clinicians, getting them on board and getting them understood, and then branching off to patients where we could further get their feedback and how to create improvements, not only for the application and the interface, but also for the AI and the algorithm that we have. Our team predominantly comprises of myself, our creative director, and director of research. We are all passionate about this, and we are looking to help improve labor and delivery, not only for patients, but also for their partners, for clinicians, for hospitals, and even for the payers that this will benefit from reductions in costs. But we understand that it's not only us. We need to build out our leadership team with chief medical officers, chief technology officers, as well as providing collaborations with a lot of health systems and higher education areas to further conduct researches to enhance our application. Thank you very much.
No, thank you so much, Roshane, for a really wonderful presentation. And we're going to open up to questions now from the judges. Please feel free to jump in.
Sure, I'll jump in. A fantastic presentation, Roshane. My question is regarding any kind of intellectual property protection around your AI or other technology involved. What's your competitive moat here?
So currently we have a patent that's currently available for this application. And when it comes to competitors, since we found this niche in the market, competitors are very lackluster, meaning the autonomous features that we have where the application is taken out of the hands of the patient completely separates us from what's out there. Patients have minimal interactions while the application is working and providing insightful labor details and updates to the patient. So that separates us along with the non-pharmacological options that we have available to help with pain management for the patient.
Thank you. And what aspect does the patent cover?
Methods and applications for helping improve labor and delivery outcomes.
Excellent. And do you have other patents pending or in the pipeline?
Well, currently, this is what our current patent covers, since it was the broad aspect of the clinician and patient-facing application. But we're also looking, when we're globalizing and going into international waters, ways and protections for that as well.
Thank you. Congratulations on the patent.
Thank you very much.
I have another question, Roshane.
Yep. Go ahead, Judy.
Thanks for the presentation. What kind of health outcomes data do you plan on establishing to convince these hospitals or health networks to pay for a system like this?
So the main data we plan on leveraging is the reduction in the time for the labor and delivery process. As before mentioned, there's about 3 stages for the labor and delivery: the labor, the actual pushing stage, and then the placenta. So if we show the data that correlates with a shorter time for the labor and delivery stage, a shorter performance during the pushing stage, meaning that babies are being born faster, and also correlating that data between first-time moms and moms that have given birth previously. If we show a shrinkage in that, then it further correlates to that cost-saving measures and less time for complications to arise.
Great, thanks.
Okay, perfect. Any last questions from the panel?
Yeah, one quick question. I was doing some research on BirthView prior to their session today. How do you actually determine the labor performance score?
So currently doctors, they utilize this measure called a Montevideo unit, where they take the peak of the contractions and subtracts it from the baseline during this 10-minute process. So maybe they'll go through 3 contractions every 10 minutes. And from this information, they're able to look and see, okay, this patient, what's required is a score of 200 or more to show a patient is progressing through labor. So they'll look at the score and see, okay, this patient did well, but this data is late from history, versus with this application, it will be calculating this after each contraction in real time, so patients understand how well they're progressing.
Great, thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, everybody, for your questions on the panel. Roshane, thank you so much for your presentation. Roshane's details are in the chat box, so please do connect with him if you want to learn more about BirthView. And Roshane, if you are free later on, please join us in the networking Zoom as well to meet some of the attendees and some of the other speakers too. But
My pleasure.
Thanks so much,
Fantastic.
Roshane. Perfect. Thanks so much for your presentation. I'm going to invite Gabby Gutierrez from Microgenesis to take the stage. Gabby, you there?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you. Just like I will share my screen with you.
Please do.
Can you see my slides?
Yes.
Yes, we can see them.
Wait. Let me go to presentation mode. Okay. Well, hello. Thank you for the opportunity to present our company today. My name is Gutierrez, and I'm a scientific co-founder and CEO at Microgenesis. We are here to build the category of natural fertility restoration. We develop an over-the-counter solution that has already brought 400 new babies into the world. Let me explain why we should do this and why we should do it now. Pregnancy is misunderstood by most people. If you are one of the 65 million couples trying to conceive in the US, you will begin your journey believing it will be a beautiful time that feels good. But 10 years later, you could find yourself in the same situation as Filippo's mom. After 5 rounds of IVF and over $5,000 spent, you will feel hopeless, physically on the edge, and broke. She can describe her experience like this: sharp needles, thousands of dollars, year lost, depression, and this isn't the face of an addiction. This is the IVF process for millions of women every day. What should be the most exciting time in a woman's life is invasive, painful, and uncertain. But microgenesis makes a baby a reality without stabbing you in the process. How do we duplicate IVF pregnancy success rate in only 90 days after our intervention? The answer lies in your gut. Why the gut? Because in it, we can find the answer to inflammatory diseases that trigger negative reactions leading to reproductive disorders. When a key microorganism at the gut microbiome disappears, it is replaced by others, triggering a specific immune response that we can measure through a microRNA signature. The microRNAs travel from the gut to the reproductive system, impacting different immunometabolic pathways that over time affect a woman's reproductive health. With our PCR tests, we were able to demonstrate that infertility is the first clinical symptom of a gut microbiome imbalance. With our nutritional intervention, we use precision nutrients, personalized nutraceuticals, and probiotic blendings according to the results. We can restore the ability to conceive in 75% of the cases in only 75 days. We restore key components that complete the missing fertility microbiome. Our technology allows us to match our analytes with a specific clinical marker, thus revealing a subclinical profile associated with, for example, endometriosis, PCOS, premature ovarian failure, autoimmune conditions, and metabolic syndrome, differentiating us from any potential competitor. First, submit a swab sample from the comfort of your home. Second, learn which microbiome profile you have. Finally, follow a customized nutrition and exercise plan with the support from our pregnancy experts. Go from swab to success in as few as 75 days for under $2,000. No needles, non-invasive, natural. We created a self-collection test that shows 64 different forms that the microbiome impacts fertility. We demonstrated 53 different nutritional recommendations that women can follow with or without their fertility doctors. We offer a 6-month support program through our proprietary health portal. 1 in 5 US women are struggling to conceive. Only 10% of them can afford IVF. The burden associated with IVF is one of the main reasons for couples to stop treatment. Before or after IVF failure, the microgenesis method works. Over 400 women have used the microgenesis solution with a 75% of success rate, more than twice as effective as IVF and 10 more times more affordable. We're creating a complete product experience ecosystem. We are already in the market, ready to scale, and we will like you to join the natural fertility restoration movement. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you, Gabby, for a great presentation. Lata, I see you've unmuted yourself already, ready to ask a question now. I'll hand over to you.
Yes, thank you, Gabby. 75% success rate is phenomenal. What was your patient size or population size?
The first clinical study we ran in Argentina and Spain, women, we included 287 unexplained infertility women, average age 40 years old. They spent in average 4 rounds of IVF that failed before. Half of them used their own oocytes, and the other half that they failed ovulation procedures before. And out of these, we have 129 babies born already, just for the first clinical study in Argentina and US. After that, we replicated the proof of concept in American women, in a group of pre-IVF women, and we got 75% of spontaneous pregnancy in a segment that can't afford IVF procedures.
That is just mind-boggling to think of your success rate. And can you elaborate a little bit when you're entering the US? What does that entail?
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Yes, you said you're now entering the US from Argentina. What does that entail? Is that working with the FDA and things of that nature, regulatory-wise?
Correct. Thank you for clarifying this for me. We don't need any FDA approval. Our regulatory clearance was working on the category of wellness. We only require a CLIA operating lab. We have a CLIA operating lab in Spain, Argentina, and the US. And we are offering the tests and a natural intervention under the category of wellness. We are planning to apply to FDA in the future for marketing purposes and to get a CPT code and get the test reimbursable for insurance companies.
Terrific. Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lata. Julie, Nathan, do you have any questions for Gabby?
Sure. What early traction has microgenesis achieved, or how are customers, I shouldn't say customers, but how are patients, or the women needing these services finding your product?
Okay, in the last 2 years in Argentina and Spain, we have a great conversion direct to consumers, great conversion rate. We already sold 160 tests and restorations only in Argentina in this year, with same price than the US. Argentina is a very low income country in comparison with the US, but it's the same retail price. We soft launched it in April in the US, and we are working in a dual channel, direct to consumers and through health providers. And we sold 60 tests and restorations since April to today. And we launched only 2 marketing campaigns already. We are experimenting with conversion rates, different avenues, different partners, and different channels already. So it's not a continued campaign. We only launched 2 different marketing campaigns, and we sold 60 tests through channels, through the direct to consumers and B2B. I'm sorry.
Great, thank you.
Okay, great. Any other questions from the panelists?
One last question. Where are these customized nutraceuticals being manufactured, Gabby?
In the US, the probiotic strains came from a European provider, and the nutraceuticals formulations are bottling, labeling, and the formulated in California.
Very good. So no real supply chain issues.
No, not at all.
Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. If the panelists don't have any other questions, we do have a few more minutes. There are some questions coming in from the crowd. Jennifer asks, Gabby, how does the treatment affect endometrial disease if it is present?
Oh, well, this is a very important question. Our test is able to understand the root cause of endometriosis, and we use the result of the test in order to identify two different phenotypes of PCOS, for example. So it will depend on the profile you have if we find a subclinical stage of endometriosis. Let's remember that 30% of women have been undiagnosed endometriosis. This is very difficult to diagnose endometriosis, and you have different stages of the disease, but this test will bring us the information to understand when is a risk of having endometriosis, and we are able to restore high risk conditions, but also mild condition of endometriosis.
Wonderful. Thank you. Hope that answers your question, Jennifer. I'm sorry, Lata, you had a question?
Yes. Gabby, where would we be able to find the publication of your tests, the 75% efficacy rate?
It was published in the American Journal of Reproductive Immunology in September last year, but we have been able to present the clinical result, the pregnancy results, on the last European Congress of Fertility in Milan this year, and it was published in Human Reproduction magazine.
Excellent. I'm going to try to find that. And last question from me, what is the patent or intellectual property protection of these tests?
We have a pending patent in the US and in Argentina around the tests, not only for fertility purposes, but also for any other inflammatory conditions we want to target in the future. And we keep the algorithm that connect the microRNA markers with the 53 different interventions as a trade secret.
Excellent. Good luck.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Lata. And just before we move on to the next presenter, last question from the crowd. PK asks, could you elaborate on how you determine the type of microbiome which impacts fertility, and has any specific testing been done?
Well, as I mentioned, we use microRNAs to understand what are the missing microorganisms and the others that overgrowth in response. That happened because we ran our first clinical study doing NGS analysis, mapping the microbiome of an explained infertility woman in comparison with a fertile group of women. And after that, we translated this information into a microRNA signature we are measuring through PCR that makes our test cheaper and easy to scale. And because when you are analyzing bacterial DNA, you are not able to do a functional analysis. But when you understand the microRNAs that immune cells at the intestinal barrier secrete in response to this microorganism, you create a functional test.
Wonderful. Gabby, thank you so much for your presentation today, and panelists, thank you for your questions, and the crowd as well. Wish you all the best. Gabby, I think if you want to stay on, there may be more questions coming in the Q&A box. And to the crowd, the Q&A box is open, and I believe Roshane from Birthview, who presented earlier, is still on. So if you want to ask him any questions, he could probably answer them via the chat if he still remains live as a panelist. But we're going to move on to Curio, and Shailja Dixit, no stranger to HITLAB, is on now, and she'll be presenting about Curio and what they're currently doing for women's health tech. So Shailja, over to you.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for inviting us back. Of course, we have been working with HITLAB, and some of the studies you will see we also did with HITLAB, so thanks a lot. We are Curio Digital Therapeutics, a company based in, headquartered in Princeton. We focus on, digital therapeutic solution for women, behavioral health across their life cycle. The wheel that you see on the right side of your screen is our vision to go across women's life cycle in every stage. Today, we have our program for pregnancy postpartum, and we are soon launching fertility. So quadrant 2 and 3 is what we have. The postpartum and pregnancy one is already commercialized, and it's in a few of the clinics. Obviously, early stage, we just started rolling it out in the clinics. The company was founded 3 years back. We were able to raise some seed funding about 2.5 years back. And then we have a rolling Series A with few investors like Evestria, Bridgepoint, Amadeus Capital, who have invested in us. We were also selected by Business Insider as top 34 women's health company. And right now we are participating as a finalist in Health Plan Innovation Roundtable, which is a forum member only by many health plan and self-insured employers. We have some key clients and partners, more partners here that you see with Exia, Mount Sinai, Columbia University, and a large benefit provider organization, Gallagher. Our team, I'm a physician by training with my master's also in informatics and also my MPH from Columbia University. The other team members are also coming from variety of background from health tech, med tech, pharma industry, as well as health information technology. We have been very fortunate to get some scientific as well as business advisors from who are from variety of different organizations like Columbia, Mount Sinai, Yale, and so on. So, why women's mental health is important. Obviously, we are talking about mental health, especially after pandemic. There has been a big focus on mental health. But women's mental health requires a special lens, because women are twice or thrice more likely and predisposed to mental health condition. There are a variety of reasons. One is societal, but more importantly, there are scientific aspects which predispose women more to and make them more vulnerable to mental health condition. This has also impacted, women taking a leadership position in the workforce. We have seen a downshift, and there was a recent research done. We did a primary research as well in collaboration with Gallagher and found out that one of the major components that women feel that has impacted downshifting is more stress and anxiety. So there is also a very big need to focus on mental health and provide the right kind of tools for women if we have to make sure that women remain in the leadership position. That's what Curio is about. We are a digital platform intertwined with when and as needed, bringing in or escalating to a health coach or a therapist. But primary interaction of a woman is through the digital platform. You see an app as well as a web browser-based technology. So we have both the aspects available for a variety of reasons. Today we have, as I said, our product ranging in the reproductive age group. Fertility is FertiLift that we'll be launching actually 1st of January. We are working with Columbia University on testing out our fertility application. And then we have pregnancy and perinatal mood disorders, which the product is called Mama Lift. This one is already with a lot of clinical data is already being commercialized. Early days, of course, but is being commercialized. What is in the background, what is in the backbone of the platform is cognitive behavioral therapy, interpersonal therapy, and concept of behavioral activation therapy, but it has been contextualized for women. So experience for women looks like that she interacts with the application 10 minutes every day. This is self-guided journey. And to make it interactive, we have augmented reality, meditation, videos, and a lot of gamification embedded in our platform to make sure that they are engaged in their journey all through. We also measure biometric measures like sleep, mood and activity that are also early markers of the mood and anxiety in a pregnant woman or those who have recently delivered. I'm going to move on, please, I think if there are any questions, ask me, or I think at the end you can ask more questions as well. What is our key differentiator? One, because you may argue that there are a lot of digital applications out there. There are also a lot of mental health service provider out there. But the key differentiator is that we are evidence-based. So we have conducted so far 6 randomized controlled studies, few single arm, but mostly 2-arm studies. We also have a proprietary algorithm to identify women early on who will be at risk of developing perinatal mood disorder or postpartum depression. We have augmented reality and nudge architecture to engage a user. We have algorithms for care escalation. So it's not just, not everybody is going to be okay with only digital. There may be a need of care escalation, and we have those algorithms, and we escalate these algorithms, once a patient is identified, to their provider to take more action. Very, very important. We have cybersecurity and encryption, which is really important as we are looking at very sensitive data. So we have third-party pen testing, cyber validation, and security certification. One of our approaches that we provide continuum of care. So this is not a parallel, healthcare that's being given. This is something that is in continuity in the OBGYN clinic, working very closely with them as well. So you see, how does the app look like? Just a screenshot of what exactly it looks like. It is an 8-week module. We have a 5-week and an 8-week module. We call it a higher digital dose. So based on where the woman is in their journey, either they can go for a 5-week program or they can go for an 8-week program. And as I said, all is required is a 10 to 15-minute interaction with the platform every day. Let me, go a little bit more deeper into our product offering and our flagship product, if I may say, or our first product around maternal mental health. The problem that there has been some recent reports, actually as early as last week, there was a report that was released by March of Dimes that gave actually most of the US state a D in a very low index for maternal health. And mental health remains one of the top 10 reasons for maternal mortality and suicide within 1 year of delivery. It also has a huge societal impact, undernourished child, vaccination status, and so on. So unfortunately, about 70 to 80% of the pregnant women will suffer with some kind of, if you look at the spectrum of postpartum blues to, a full-blown postpartum psychosis, it's a very wide prevalence that we see in society. This has also increased, unfortunately, during COVID. It used to be something like 1 in 4. It has gone up to 1 in 3 during pandemic. We are still waiting for some new reports as the pandemic settles, but nevertheless, it remains around 20%. When you add women of color, the numbers are even more. It can range up to 40 to 50%. So really a pressing need to address this particular aspect around mental health. We talk about postpartum hemorrhage, we talk about gestational diabetes, but mental health is often ignored, and that's what we are trying to address. Unfortunately, American College of OBGYN has put in guidelines screening as a key measure of quality healthcare. But even after measuring or screening, 75% of those who screen positive get no treatment. And there are a variety of reasons. Access is an issue, stigma is an issue, financial aspect, and most importantly, we have a shortage of mental health care providers in United States as well as globally. So that's the gap that we are trying to fill with the digital platform, which takes care of the stigma, can deliver care at scale in an affordable fashion, but yet is evidence-driven and is fully secure. Here is Curio, a new way of delivering care for mental health. As I said, we have a continuum of product. So we identify early on, improve patient satisfaction, improve patient outcome as measured by our clinical studies, address the burnout issue because we don't have enough staff. We often hear there are not enough mental health providers. Average wait time to talk to a therapist is about 2 to 3 months. That is when you have a good behavioral health coverage and reduce cost. So we are also taking care of providing a affordable, scalable solution, as I said. We have 3 products in our maternal health area. A predictive tool, which is our proprietary predictive tool. We have developed and tested this tool in a large payer population, about 2 million lives. We are able to identify 66% of the women who will end up having postpartum by 2nd trimester, 86% by 3rd trimester. And this gives enough opportunity to do the right kind of intervention and try to bend the curve, if I may say. Our second product is Mama Lift. This is certified, we have been talking to FDA as a general wellness class 1. We are able to identify and bend the curve for at least 63% of the women who we are able to bring them above the threshold of clinical postpartum depression. Mama Lift Plus is our class 2 device. We recently did submission to FDA with our clinical trial, and we have submitted our data, which has shown statistically significant improvement versus standard of care. So this is a randomized control study, double arm. Okay. What does the program have? I talked about connectivity. There is a clinician-facing dashboard. There is a web and browser-based program, and then there are personalized reports that are delivered for patient as well as physician in the platform. How does it work? We also have some efforts. We'll be launching a huge direct-to-consumer campaign in January. We are right now actually rolling it out through the OBGYN office. So workflow you see here is an OBGYN office workflow. Once an OBGYN identifies or a patient is flagged through our predictive tool as being at high risk or having postpartum depression, a woman is able to download and register through a QR code. She can go on either our browser or an app-based Mama Lift program. If she's not improving, she can go on a higher digital dose or higher intensity program, which is Mama Lift Plus. We also have escalation to therapist and health coach as needed. And we are able to provide a comprehensive browser-based view to a clinician. We have been able to integrate with the EMR. So this can be launched through electronic medical record by the clinician in their office as well. As you know, like in class 1 wellness device, the prescription or recommendation from physician is not required. And in our direct-to-consumer model, patients can actually directly, or women can directly download and use the application as well. We highly encourage them to talk to their providers because we believe in the continuum of care, and we believe that it's important that providers or the care team are kept in the mix in this journey as well. Okay. I won't go through all of the clinical research, but just wanted to give a flavor. These are the studies I talked about. A total of 1,400 women have been studied. We use a standardized scale called Edinburgh Postpartum Depression Scale. This is used in clinical practice, has been accepted by FDA in our discussions, and we are able to see improvement, as I said, which is clinically meaningful as well as statistically significant. Some more important data, with digital, it also becomes very important that patients are engaged. So in our studies, we have seen 70% user satisfaction. These are all uncompensated patients, so they voluntarily participated in the program. And we have also seen, that more engagement leads to better clinical outcome. So if they're more engaged, we see better outcome, which shows the effectiveness of the program in itself. Where are we in our commercial journey? Our go-to market, as I said, is insurance company, employers, and providers. We are primarily focusing on insurance company, employers, and providers. That's why we are participating in Health Plan Innovation Roundtable right now. Our Mama Lift Plus will be more on providers, but I wanted to call out that there is a reimbursement code for DTX, which will be in effect on 1st of January 2023. So once we have approval from FDA for our MamaLift Plus, which is class 2, we will be looking for a market access from payer organizations. Quickly, we already have some initial commercial traction. We are in 2 two big institutes, Mount Sinai and Exia, with a reach to about 700 OBGYN. We have signed our predictive modeling contract with the pharma company, and then we have signed a global employer with 350 employees. So we are looking at domestic. We are also actually inbound inquiries from international organizations like Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and NHS UK. We are registering right now as we speak for CE mark in EU, which is equivalent to class 1 in EU. Okay, this is my summary slide. We are a mission to improve women's reproductive behavioral health globally in an innovative and scalable, affordable way, bridging the gap of access and health equity, leveraging gamification, AI, security and privacy being the core of our platform. We are very conscious about that aspect. A team of very diverse and talented people. I'm very lucky to have that. On the bottom, you see some of our accomplishments so far. 1 class 1 product, which is MamaLift. 1 class 2 already filed, and a clear regulatory pathway in discussion, in pre-submission discussions with FDA. CE mark submission in Q1, well on target. We are also going to release our 2nd FertiLift product as class 1 with a high user engagement, evidence-based. 3 patents that we have filed, not approved, but filed. Provisional patent data also submitted this summer, and early commercial success with 1 pharma, 1 payer pilot, and 2 employer pilot. In addition, we have 2 international MOUs that we have signed with large global enterprise. So this is who we are. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have, and take over to you, Jerry, or audience.
Yes, thank you, Shailja. Thank you for a very detailed presentation there. We have only maybe 1, maybe 2 questions at the very most from the panelists before I have to move on.
Yeah, I have a question. So are the therapists specifically trained for women's mental health needs? You have like a proprietary training program for a generalist mental health specialist to better serve women?
That's a really good question. Absolutely. And this is a very big gap. We found out that most of the therapists are not. So we have a training module, and the therapists that we partner with, they have to go through that training module. And the goal is that therapy sessions are only required for very few, and there are very few just to make sure that there is a reinforcement happening from their side.
Wonderful. Thank you, Shailja. And 1 more very quick question before we move on to the last presenter, if anybody has any.
I do. We see a number of mental health and wellness AI entities presenting to us at How Women Invest, primarily for women, especially after COVID. How is your go-to-market strategy distinct from sort of the other companies in this space, Shailja?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I completely agree. Few very important things. One is our pathway for FDA. We have taken a lot of effort. It took us like 6 studies, about 3-5 years to get there. So that's a very important aspect. There is a reimbursement coming next year, and that's why we are engaging and talking to plans early on. The second thing is having a continuum of predictive tools. So not just, and the tool which is actually available at point of care from provider perspective. So connectivity to provider, EMR connectivity takes about a year or so to get. You also have to get data security privacy, and it took us a year to get that certification. So that's our second differentiation, I would say, which is really important as well. So for us, science is very important. FDA pathway, even if it is class 1, is very important. And data and security is at the core, because you can't get into provider practices and get data from EMR if you don't have security privacy from a third party. It took us a while. It was a painful process, but we believe that this is really important to do.
Impressive data. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful, Shailja. Thanks so much for coming on and giving us a presentation. Thank you, panelists, for your questions. There are questions in the Q&A, Shailja, so if you are going to be sticking around, please definitely answer them via the chat or via the Q&A box on text. And everybody else who is still on, I think Roshane and Gabby from the previous presentations are still on, so if you have any questions for them, please put them in the chat or in the Q&A box. And without further ado, I know we are going to a break after this, so we have a bit of time to have Kirthika Parmeswaran from Vital Start Health to present to us about her digital health solution. Kirthika, are you there?
I'm here.
Perfect.
Great to be here, Jerry. So I just share my screen and begin?
Yep, go right ahead.
Thank you so much for this opportunity again, HITLAB. Looking forward to doing many more things together. Very quickly, let me just. Everybody wants to hold the baby, but who holds the mom? That's the question we are addressing at Vital Start Health. And I've personally been through this myself through postpartum depression and come face to face with the stigma, anxiety, and the indiscrepancies in the healthcare system. This is an enormous problem. I think we've heard from our previous speaker as well. A growing problem with rise in maternal mortality, rise in complications, even out of fertility, 40% of parents will have high-risk pregnancy, 26% preterm births. According to Mathematica, it takes 19,000 per mother for perinatal mood and anxiety disorders treatment and can take up to 5 years. We want to disrupt this completely. What we have done is come up with a platform, Courage, that enables a mother and actually a parent to have a safe environment to learn the skills that they need as they go through this journey. We have a patent pending, award-winning platform that includes a program and curriculum that we have developed ourselves, content, some that we have licensed with key health systems, a virtual care platform with analytics, the Vital Start Wellbeing Profile, which is patent pending, and a practitioner network of care coordinators, coaches, and psychologists who would be customers to our platform. We feel strongly that mothers are very vulnerable as they go through maternity. And so we have built a hybrid approach of robotics combined with a human in the loop with a balanced cost of sales. What we do is we provide a VR headset. Currently, it's a low-cost VR headset, but because we are part of the Microsoft for Startups program, we also have, our platform works seamlessly on the high-end headsets as well. And we provide multilingual, one-stop shop platform right from preconception through birthing and postpartum. We've won numerous awards this year, just this year alone, the Health and Human Services, Racial Equity in Postpartum Challenge, the Citizens Bank Small Business Champion Award, Rainer Seed Fund, CBKV competition just like a week ago, and Startup Bucks Award as well, all of which are monetary awards. Hi, everyone. I'm Kirthika Parmeswaran. I'm a Wharton alum with deep expertise across business and technology and have an R&D background initially. My co-founder, Dr. John Cho, is a neonatal quality officer at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia and an associate professor at Penn Medicine. We are a Penn company, also part of Microsoft for Startups, funded through the Science Center in Drexel. We're currently at $360,000 in funding and raising our seed. We have a phenomenal set of advisors and a growing team, really excited to go after this enormous market opportunity, $50 billion. Globally, we see ourselves as a global company with a vision to impact 1 million mothers by 2030 and a health equity pledge of giving 5% back for underrepresented mothers. In the US, it's a $19 billion problem, and our beachhead will be the pregnancy complications and preterm births. We began with answering this question, why VR, and looking at the existing literature, the body of evidence that exists for VR use in mental health, right from the American Psychological Association as well. We took that further and did a focus group study at a leading NICU that showed us that, yes, parents definitely preferred a VR sort of approach for learning, simulated learning and growing. And we also did surveys with the Superhero Project, which is a NICU advocacy group, which also showed us that there's a huge need and acknowledgement for driving resilience as parents go through fertility. We took that forward, did IRB-based studies at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, actually. And we also have licensing with them, where we saw that the trauma levels came down significantly. Very promising study, and just using our, our scenarios and content, not even psychotherapy. So now we're doing a follow-on larger study, taking that further. We also did a national coaching pilot, which showed us that, moms love this kind of approach. It was non-distracting for them. They're able to learn, and the key things that we care about, stress, anxiety, sleep fatigue, there are changes in that. Practitioners loved it because now they have a visual cue to provide rather than an imaginary intervention. So it is a win-win. And great news, there is a virtual reality therapy code that is going to be instituted from 2023 in January. So we are very excited. It's going to be a game changer. And we are looking to be a leader in maternal health using VR. What we have is a plug and play approach of taking any mental health tool based on your care protocol and embedding it into our platform and analytics without needing any changes. We also have content that we have developed for stress reduction as well as stress inoculation, which is kind of a core feature we are bringing through our platform, along with the vital sign for well-being, which is a tool that enables a practitioner to see where the patient is and provide them very personalized interventions at the right time. We have filed for patents provisional. We have a very unique algorithm we stumbled upon to build content that has the right outcomes, along with all the other things that we have developed, toolkits, different journaling methods, content, and a hands-on approach to helping mothers through this journey. Beyond outcomes, we are looking to drive better ratings for providers, along with a competitive edge and engagement, reducing healthcare use, driving productivity, retention, and building that digital companion in adjunct to pharmacotherapy. We are in talks with all those different stakeholders that you saw there currently, and we have some traction with the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, where we have licensing with them, and we have done some studies as well. So this is really our roadmap, and this is breaking through all the noise and all the studies that we've done. It's clear that you need innovation here to disrupt the existing status quo. And it's not just innovation for shiny object kind of a thing, but really something that drives outcomes, drives patient engagement with a focus on quality and equity and the connected health aspect, which is such a big need. And then the community aspect, which is what we learned through our Instagram channels as well, is that parents want that. So imagine going through fertility, and now you have a VR platform where both the members of the couple partners are now going through that same intervention together. How powerful that is. So what we're doing is, now that we have the platform and we have launched it, we're really taking this forward into sales and revenue, and then growing it way beyond that into other key areas. So currently we are looking at B2B and B2B2C. We did some experiments with B2C as well. So that was great learnings for us. We paused that for now and are focusing completely onto B2B, because we feel strongly that you need that credibility, you need that payment structure in place to drive this to success. And we have partners, Microsoft, remote patient monitoring platforms like Happy Mama, and we're continuously growing our partners to help us take this deeper into the ecosystem as well. Our business model is a SaaS-based one. So we have content only, content platform and staff. So we would provide the complete managed service. And if you simply want to buy seats onto our platform to test or pilot, we also have that set up, because we originally began from a retail sort of an approach with a 3-month package, 6-month package, and a 9-month package as well. What we're doing is truly unique. I know we heard, Curio previously. There are many other companies in the maternal mental health space. What we're bringing to the table is that hybrid approach, along with health equity, experiential practice, or simulated learning, and a way to do this across the continuum in a multilingual fashion to make it really personal for everyone going through this journey. And we're looking to get to 42 million by 2026, a little aggressive, because the idea here is to start with a key children's hospital system or a key health system and grow from there because of the close-knit community. We have a big vision. We are a global company beginning right from the US, but really looking at being a Web 3.0 company becoming that healthcare creator space, where there is a dearth of that. We haven't been able to find great content at all. So we're building a lot of that, striking contracts with different systems to build that very pertinent content. So we feel we are in a great place to take that forward and become that metaverse platform beyond maternity mental health into other acute and chronic conditions as well. The timing is just right. Mental health, femtech, what we're doing has enormous impact, multi-generational impact, and there are strong exits in the space. Uvia was bought by LabCorp just last year. So we can see that there is a growing space with great momentum, and we have the right team, strategic potential to make this successful. We're currently raising a 2 million seed, and we look forward to your support to become the vital sign for maternal well-being. Thank you.
Thank you, Kirthika. What a wonderful way to round off our presentations for this Women's Health Tech Innovator Showcase Hour. Going to throw it back to the panelists for some final questions.
Very impressive presentation. Could you explain a little bit about how your VR platform, is that something you buy off the shelf and integrate, or is there a customized version?
Oh, great question, Lata. Yes, it's a multi-tenant platform which can be customized for a different provider system in their DMZ if that's what they want. We also have that on the Azure cloud, and we can have multiple tenants on that same platform. So currently the platform is live already, and we have coaches, psychologists, patients using it as well. And it can easily become like, I don't know if you meant the white label kind of thing. Yes, we would be able to do that as well. And this is the VR headset that we're using. It works on the high-end VR, but just for time to market and to make this effective, especially during COVID, when we did our study, we're using this, mobile VR headset that we just throw in.
And would you be in a position down the road to develop a more cost-effective version for developing and emerging markets?
Yes, definitely. That is a key area we are looking at. There are already these VR headsets. I just buy them on Amazon Prime, for instance. You are getting the $5 ones, headsets, but they're not as great an experience. So what I like to do is, as the metaverse and as Web 3.0 becomes much more of a popular, thing, I think all these things, there'll be that efficiency curve happening, and the price of the headsets will come down, and we're right there, ready to work across different modalities as needed. Definitely want to go global.
Thank you.
Wonderful. And any last questions from Nathan and Julie before we wrap up?
Oh, we're part of Plug and Play, by the way. I forgot to say, I saw Nathan had Plug and Play on that.
Good to see you.
Silicon Valley Batch 14.
Yeah, good to see you.
Yes, same here.
I'll tell Ava you say hello.
Yes, please do. And Julianne.
Okay, I think that just about wraps it up. If we don't have any further questions from the panelists today. Kirthika, thank you so much for giving us a detailed presentation about the vital work that you're doing with Vital Start, and wonderful to have you back on another HITLAB presentation and event. So with that,
thank you so much.
Really wonderful to wrap up our Women's Health Tech Innovator Showcase Hour. I'd like to thank Roshane, Kirthika, Shailja, and Gabriella for all coming on to demonstrate and give us an insight into what they're doing right now on the innovator side. Please do connect with them on LinkedIn. Their details are in the chat. And also massive thank you to our panel of experts, investors, and thought leaders within this space, Nathan, Lata, and Julie. Thanks so much for your time. We really appreciate you coming on. We know how busy you are, and we hope to have you on another HITLAB panel or segment again.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you, guys. And now throwing it back to you, Stan.
Oh, thank you, Jerry. Just a wonderful innovator showcase. And once again, thank you to all of the digital health innovators that are really changing the healthcare system and making the digital health reset work. and Jerry, just a masterful moderation of that session. Appreciate it tremendously.